Good morning. It's 9 a.m., 19 degrees, a half hour left of Daybreak here on WGRZ Plus. I'm Melissa Holmes. And this story was breaking overnight. We're trying to learn more about this fire here on Humboldt Parkway. Anyone driving on the 33 around 3 a.m. could see it. You could see the flames shooting through the roof of this three-story home right near East Ferry Street. It drew a huge response from firefighters. It's still not clear how the fire started or if anyone was hurt, but we'll update you once we learn more. And now to an update on a story 2 on Your Side has been following for almost a year now. Internal affairs documents show the current Buffalo Police Commissioner was contacted on the night of the crash involving Erie County Sheriff's Narcotics Chief DJ Granville. And for the first time, we're hearing who knew what and when the night of the crash. The documents show Granville's sister-in-law, Lucia Esquilin, called Craig Macy, who was the chief of detectives at the time, shortly after the Lieutenant Esquilin arrived at the scene. 2 on Your Side's Nate Benson was first to obtain those documents and has this exclusive story.
It's been nearly a year since 2 on Your Side Investigates broke the story about Erie County Sheriff's Office Narcotics Chief DJ Granville crashing his county-issued work truck into 7 parked vehicles on Buffalo's west side just before midnight on April 11th, 2024. That story led to an internal affairs investigation, disciplinary action against 5 Buffalo police officers, Granville pleading guilty to reckless driving and leaving the scene of a property damage-only accident, and public scrutiny about a potential cover-up of the entire incident by Buffalo police. 2 on Your Side has obtained the full Buffalo Police internal affairs investigation files related to the DJ Granville case. They include more than 2,100 pages of documents, more than 24 audio recordings, and some of the body-worn camera footage from the night of the crash. The first 911 call about the crash was made just before 11:40 on April 11th, 2024.
911, where's your emergency?
One of his tires was already gone. It's a truck that just came down our street and hit a lot of cars. It's a car up on the curb. It's a pickup truck. I'm on Prospect. And the wheel is off the car and he was blowing it down the street.
Lieutenant Lucia Esquilin responded to the scene shortly thereafter. She was at her police district office at the time. Internal affairs files show that Granville, Esquilin's brother-in-law, called her at 11:42 p.m. According to Esquilin, he was, quote, telling me where he was and that there was an accident. After they hung up, Esquilin called Granville back at 11:47, but told internal affairs investigator, quote, I don't even know what the conversation would be. The call records from Esquilin's cell phone show that she called Craig Macy at 12:01 a.m. on April 12th. Macy at the time was the chief of detectives for Buffalo Police. He is now the acting commissioner. At the time, he was not Esquilin's supervisor, and Esquilin told the IA investigator that she, quote, wanted advice to make sure that the accident was done properly. For the first time, records reveal that someone higher up in Buffalo Police chain of command was notified about the crash and Granville's involvement. As 2 on Your Side learned about this information and obtained the internal affairs documents, Commissioner Craig Macy agreed to sit down and talk about his role that night.
I did receive a phone call the night of the accident, right? I was sleeping, I was woken up by it, and I was asked procedurally what to do with a sheriff's vehicle that's an unmarked vehicle that was involved in a accident.
Did Lieutenant Esquilin tell you it was Narcotics Chief Granville involved in the crash?
She did.
Upon learning that, what went through your mind? Did that change your advice at all to Lieutenant Esquilin?
Not at all.
No?
With the information that was presented to me, right, is the advice that I gave, and the directive was to just issue the appropriate citations, issue the tickets, and move on.
Did you ask Lieutenant Esquilin about like a DUI test, field sobriety test, any DUI intoxication testing on site at all? No,
not at all.
Why not?
We typically crash about 100 cars a year that are involved in accidents, you know, and the very small level of those or number of those are involving or where the officers are at fault. We've had high-ranking members of the department get into accidents. I wouldn't jump to that conclusion that there is something nefarious right off the top.
Granville was never charged with a DUI. As for a relationship, Macy told the internal affairs investigator that he's known Granville for 6 or 7 years and considered him a friend. Did that at all, do you think, play into a role that's why Lieutenant Esquilin called you? She knew you're a friend of his, give you a call?
So I can't speculate on why she called me. With respect to DJ, right? I've had a lot of interactions with him in previous jobs, right? There is professional friendships, I guess you could say, and you know, again, looking back, I'm well aware of the appearance.
And that was Nate Benson reporting. We know now that Mayor Sean Ryan is going to be holding a news conference at 10 o'clock this morning to talk more about this internal affairs investigation. You can stream the mayor's full press conference right here on WGRZ Plus at 10 o'clock this morning. Today, possibly could wrap up the final round of the impact statements in the bankruptcy case against the Buffalo Diocese. But if a judge says that more days are needed to hear the statements, they will allow that. The third session was held yesterday, where survivors shared how clergy's sexual abuse has affected their lives. This comes 7 years after the Diocese of Buffalo filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. And this morning, we're also learning that the group Save Our Buffalo Churches is sending a petition to the Pope, requesting that he investigate Bishop Fisher and his executive team about how the sexual abuse cases and crisis settlements were handled. Now, they're especially concerned about possible mismanagement and misrepresentation. In a statement, the group said in part, quote, Bishop Fisher's ministry has become increasingly ineffective and harmful. He has lost his good reputation among Catholics, and his actions have harmed the reputation of the Catholic Church to both Catholics and non-Catholics. This situation has reached the point of necessity for intervention by the Holy See. And Save Our Buffalo Churches is inviting everyone in Western New York who has been negatively impacted by the Diocese of Buffalo's leadership to sign this new mandate supporting the petition and the audit. It can be found on the Save Our Buffalo Churches website or Facebook page. And we have reached out to the Diocese for a response, and we're waiting to hear back. We also have an update on a deadly crash involving a student from Niagara University. The student has now been identified as 22-year-old sophomore Bradley Burden. The Niagara University community is remembering him as being full of energy and always trying to make people around him have a better day. He was from Anchorage, Alaska, and was a player on the school's club hockey team. His coach tells us that Burden was going to make a positive impact in his life and the lives of others, and he wishes he had more time to do that.
Feeling like I lost one of my kids, you know, like he's the reason I'm here. He's a kid from Alaska who played junior hockey all over the United States, and I brought him here. We won a bid to the national tournament on Sunday, so we were all on a bus together. We were all on a weekend together in Connecticut, in Simsbury, Connecticut this past weekend, and you know, we had a 7-hour bus ride home together on Sunday, and we were all singing, you know, karaoke and watching movies and watching the gold medal Olympic game, and then this changes everything.
And a second Niagara University student was in the car and has been identified as Rose Kaminsky. She's a sophomore from Rochester. She's been released from the hospital and is recovering at home. The university says it is supporting students and staff by offering counseling and campus ministry services. The story getting national attention here based in Buffalo. A refugee who was reported missing this week and was previously arrested by Buffalo police has been found dead. And right now there are a lot of questions that top officials at the local and federal level are facing about the circumstances leading up to his death. Daybreak's Natalie Foss was at the Erie County Holding Center this morning with this report.
There are so many details in this case, and it all centers around the Erie County Holding Center. Now, that's where Nurul Amin Shah Alam left custody last Thursday, 1 week ago. His body would be found 5 days later over on Perry Street. The Erie County Medical Examiner notified his family shortly after, but here's what we know about him so far. Customs and Border Patrol says Shah Alam entered the U.S. as a refugee in December of 2024. According to documents obtained by Two on Your Side, he was arrested last February for allegedly trespassing in a woman's yard and assaulting police officers. The DA says a federal immigration detainer was issued after his arrest. He was in custody at the Erie County Holding Center up until last Thursday when he posted a reduced bond as part of a plea deal. That's the day he went missing. His attorney filed a missing persons report saying he was released to Border Patrol agents. We spoke to one immigration lawyer about if this is something that occurs often.
They're not required to tell a family member. So from time to time, this happens. And there's a lot of foreign nationals in criminal custody that get released into Border Patrol or ICE custody. That happens all day, every day, all throughout America. So this is really, really unfortunate. And it just seems like maybe there was a gap in communication, or there just seems to be a missing link here.
U.S. Border Patrol provided more details, saying in part, quote, Border Patrol agents offered him a courtesy ride, which he chose to accept, to a coffee shop, determined to be a warm, safe location near his last known address, rather than be released directly from the Border Patrol station. He showed no signs of distress, mobility issues, or disabilities requiring special assistance, end quote. Now, in a statement, Buffalo police said that homicide detectives are still investigating the circumstances and the time frame of events that led up to Shah Alam's death after his release from custody, but investigators do say that he died from natural causes. On your side at the Erie County Holding Center, Natalie Foss, Channel 2 News.
9:10 on Daybreak, 19 degrees. Patrick, we want to get to you and take a look at the forecast, which you've been telling us all week that Friday is the pick day. Are you still in agreement? Tomorrow's going to be the nicest day of the week?
Absolutely, especially when you look at the month that we've had so far. If we hit 45, which it looks like we will, that'll be the warmest day of the month. We had, let's see, we had one day at 41. So we had 3 days in the 40s in February, and 20s and teens and even low 30s. Bottom line, it's been a kind of a chilly month. The average is 3 degrees below average. Blue represents days below average, and red is above average. And you can see that it's 15 versus 9. It looks like in terms of cold versus warmer than average. We didn't have a few of those, but we had a couple days in the 40s. We're probably going to end the month with the last day of the month being Saturday at about 41. Tomorrow, though, will be about 45 degrees, so that'll be nice. So here you can see that 28 today, 45 Friday, 41 on Saturday. Dry weather. Yeah, we have a few flurries out there now, but we're going to be in and out of clouds today. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 45, and then on Saturday, low 40s, a little more cloud cover on Saturday, and then some light snow Saturday night into early Sunday. So notice here on the satellite, we've got clear skies from Niagara Falls to Batavia. We've got a couple of snow showers hugging the Lake Ontario shoreline, kind of sandwiched in between snow showers in the north, and also some flurries down here in Ellicottville and Ashford and towards Gowanda. Okay. Today, though, should be mainly dry, in and out of clouds. There will be some times of blue, but then there will be some times of clouds as well. Tonight, we should clear it out with partly cloudy skies. And then for tomorrow, look for, again, a few clouds, but also clearing too, mostly sunny with temperatures, again, in the 40s. So for today, 20s. Tonight, we're going to see lows. It's going to be chilly again, upper teens, low 20s. And then for tomorrow, temperatures in the mid 40s. So for today, again, morning clouds. There will be some clearing again, but not, I don't think we cleared out completely. There's Saturday, Sunday, some snow showers in the morning. The next week, it's kind of chilly on Monday, but dry. Tuesday, increasing clouds. Tuesday night into Wednesday, a system is going to bring us kind of a mixed bag, it looks like, of some rain and snow showers. Similar outlook for the south towns in the southern tier, with Saturday being much warmer, Melissa, than Sunday.
Yeah, it looks that way. All right, Patrick, thank you. 9:13 here on Daybreak, 19 degrees. Stay with us. We're going to talk Sabres just out of the gate running. We'll talk about that coming up right after the break. Welcome back, everybody. 9:15 now on Daybreak. And how fun was it to see the Sabres win last night?
Wasn't it kind of like storybook that Tage scored the goal?
Yes.
Right? And he had the assist on the second one.
Right. What a game back from him. And it all started in such a nice way with Jack Hughes, you know, being recognized by his hometown crowd there in New Jersey, but then pulling Tage and to the front and saying, you know, everyone should be celebrating him as well.
Which was kind of unscripted.
Right.
He just kind of pulled him out.
Yeah.
That was great.
It was so great to see.
And he acknowledged the women's team as well.
Yes. Did they? I missed that part.
He did mention we had 2 Olympic winning teams.
Wonderful.
The men and the women.
Yeah. And Channel 2 sports reporter Jonathan Acosta breaks down the highlights of the game for us this morning.
After nearly 3 weeks off for the Olympic break, Sabres hockey finally back to regularly scheduled programming. A 25-game push to the playoffs getting underway Wednesday in the Garden State. Sabres at Devils. Jack Hughes, the Team USA Golden Goal hero, Honored pregame, he brought out U.S. teammate Tage Thompson to get some of the love as well in Newark. But once the puck dropped, Hughes and Thompson back to being opponents, and Thompson getting the last laugh in this one, opening the scoring in the second, his 60th point of the season, 4th time in his career reaching that mark. Then in the third, Hughes with a bad turnover. Tage takes it away, and he feeds Peyton Krebs, 2nd time this game. Those two combined for a goal, 2-point night for each as the Sabres led 2-0. New Jersey pulled one back late at 6-on-5, but Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen making one last save. 28 on the night as the Sabres start these final 25 games with a well-earned 2-1 win in New Jersey.
It's such a tight race, and every point matters, and I think we're going to get every team's best every night. So we just got to be ready for that. And I loved our compete. We really packed it in battle. Upi obviously makes some really big saves there and keep us in it. Sometimes they're going to be ugly, but we got it done.
Sabres back in action Friday night at Florida. That game the first of a back-to-back in the Sunshine State with a visit to Tampa Bay on Saturday. On your side in the studio, Jonathan Acosta, Channel 2 Sports.
Of course, the Florida Panthers are the reigning Stanley Cup champions 2 years in a row. We played them 3 times this season already, Sabres winning 2 of those 3 games. So certainly not a lock for the Panthers at all.
So you have 2 games in Florida before they come back against the Golden Knights. So you hope, okay, winning that game in New Jersey I think was big. That relieves the pressure on the Florida games because those are always tough.
Right.
Especially when they're there.
Exactly. And as we've talked about for a while now, when the Sabres come back and have 25 games, now it's 24, they need to be about 500 in order to pretty much get a lock for the playoffs. And so every 2 points is like you breathe a little bit easier, a little bit easier.
And I think they're, I got to see what the Commanders, or what Washington did and what Columbus did. But they, before the game, they had a 5-point cushion on the next the one team that's chasing them. So, and I think that's Washington and Columbus, I think. So depending upon what they did last night, I'm not sure. Maybe that cushion widened.
Yeah. Typically we have a Sports Talk Live on Monday nights here on Channel 2. I wonder if we're having that tonight.
But because it's Thursday.
I meant Sports Talk Live Plus on WGRZ Plus on Thursday night.
Oh, okay, because Sports Talk Live is on what, Monday?
Mondays, but we've got the Plus version on Thursday.
Okay.
Thank goodness it's not Monday. It's been a long week.
Man, that was
ready for Friday.
We have breaking news.
But yes, here on WGRZ Plus, there's usually a Sports Talk Live Plus on Thursdays at 7:30. So we'll let you know if we're going to have that. We'll get that answer, and then we can have our whole sports team talk about the Sabres. Great. Patrick wants to talk about this.
It's a beautiful picture.
I think it is. You did not say that earlier this morning.
No,
like, what's up with that picture?
I thought.
We're talking about Josh and Haley. Can we show it? All right. This was posted. Haley is very pregnant. It looks like she could have the baby.
Pregnant
really.
And provocative.
I don't see this as provocative at all.
You don't?
No.
Huh.
I don't.
Okay.
You do?
Yeah. And I will say, not to validate myself, but they just had this on the Today Show.
Yeah.
And they had a panel, you know, and they were like.
There are lots of pregnancy.
They had similar takes.
Okay. See, I just, she's a movie star.
Right.
And a pop star.
Right.
And he is the MVP. You get away with a little bit. And I've seen lots and lots of beautiful pregnancy photo shoots of women showing their bellies.
I'm not saying they're showing the belly. That's fine. It's just.
They're just drinking coffee.
The way she was sitting?
So, to each their own. But we came into the studio this morning and Patrick's like, I just don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get this picture.
No, that's not what I said. I said, I'm wondering if I'm missing something. Like, is it a recreation of a famous picture done by another movie star? Is there something that I'm not getting? Again, it's a beautiful picture. I'm a little bit more old-fashioned, and that's
There
all.
apparently are more pictures, but you have to be a paid subscriber to Bow Society in order to see the more photos. So I have no idea. But I
mean, she looks gorgeous.
They've never given a due date, by the way. So they've never given a due date. So obviously it'll be within.
You don't really see Josh. He's drinking coffee.
I don't really care about Josh. He's not the one carrying a live human being inside her body.
Truth.
Growing
pictures,
another human.
All wedding pictures, all pregnancy, all pictures should be focused on the bride, I think, and the mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Josh also is the MVP well, he was, of the NFL. So I don't know. It's just great to see these pictures again. Everyone's curious about when is she going to have the baby. We still don't know. I don't believe she, divulged that in the Bow Society newsletter, but I think it's beautiful. So to each their own. That's why we do this show, because we have our own opinions.
Again, it's a beautiful picture. Just I was whoa.
No, I walked in. I don't get it.
Okay. I said, am I
missing something here?
Am I missing something?
Am I missing something here?
I like Patrick. That was a famous Audrey Hepburn picture. It was a recreation.
We're still trying to teach Patrick about social media, though, when he also says, I don't get why people just talk into their phone and then post it on social media.
Okay. Anyway.
Sorry.
That's okay.
All right. But when you do that, you get tons of clicks and followers. All right. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. When was the last time you've been to the movies?
That is such a good question. Because I drive by a movie theater all the time in Orchard Park, and I know I've been there many times, but when was I saw Spider-Man, the animated with Haley Steinfeld as one of the characters. I saw that in the theater. That was, though, like a year and a half ago. What was it called? Spider-Verse? It's an animated.
Yeah. And I can't remember the last time I was there. I really can't.
One.
But if you want to go downtown and see a movie, you're going to be able to do that again soon. Buffalo's only movie theater downtown closed 2 months ago after AMC closed its doors there. But now a company called Scene One Cinemas has signed a 5-year deal with plans to reopen the Market Arcade 8 theater by April 1st. The seats, speakers, projection equipment, all the fixtures were purchased by the theater's owners, so they're really just kind of hoping for a turnkey transition. Scene One Cinemas operates 6 other theaters around the country, including 3 in the Albany area, and their CEO tells us that the opportunity to be part of Buffalo's theater district was something that he just couldn't pass up.
We come in and we tailor our movie entertainment to that city. So what we do is a little bit different than the larger chains. We'll look and see, what's going to play well here. Yes, we're going to play all the big blockbusters, but we'll look and get in a lot of independent foreign movies and, a lot of cult classics and classic movies that ordinarily wouldn't play around town.
And Master says that they're refurbishing a few things and securing refreshments, including a liquor license. And the new lease has extension options up to 20 years. It's wonderful to see somebody move in there.
In downtown, right?
Yeah.
And going to a theater you forget how wonderful it is, how much. The only thing, though, that theater movies don't have that watching movies at home does that. What do you think that is?
Pause. So you can go to the bathroom.
Course, that and captions. I love captions.
I have captions on everything.
Even the movies. Now, sometimes that means you're reading the movie, but that limits the amount of times you have to pause because you might not hear them. Or what did he say?
Right.
And it's right there.
And sometimes when they have something like that they're looking at a cell phone and reading a text message on a cell phone. And I'm like, wait, that must have been important, but I didn't get to see it.
I go up like this. What is that?
That's why pause is so important. Pause it right when you're seeing the cell phone.
Because sometimes whatever discussion is happening on the phone is critical to the movie.
Right.
And if you can't, what did he say? What did he say?
Right. So you're losing captions and losing the pause ability to go to the bathroom and read on-screen text messages. Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
I hated that because you see them.
Yeah.
This is a pivotal. This is riveting. This is a part of the
I would
movie's
like
finale.
some sort of study on what type of people use captions now on TV, and is it just on movies? I mean, I literally use it on everything. Right. And I don't know what I was doing.
Even like during football games.
No, because then it's delayed. So not everything. I also don't have it on the news.
But you want to hear is Scott Levin's voice. You don't want to have to read it.
Right, I just want to hear it.
But so even on shows that you watch.
Like reality TV.
What about on Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy, the shows like that? Oh. I'm just curious.
Okay, so maybe not everything.
No, I'm fascinated by this because.
As long as it matches up. If it's delayed, then I get frustrated.
Right.
Or if it's too soon, I get frustrated, but pretty much everything else. Yeah.
Some movies, though, it's the weirdest thing. clearly it's automated, but the captions come out all wonky.
Yeah.
With like instead of a Q, it's like an apostrophe. It's like what? You know, it's like, but most of the time they do match, and to me it's helpful.
Right, and even the spooky music plays, or like how they describe uplifting music, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to get out of this. Here comes an uplifting part.
But what are the words going to say if there's like a scene of passion?
Well, we can just go to Patrick to describe some passionate scenes since he has so many opinions about it.
Well, what are the
Okay. Anyway, in the last 30 seconds, you have a weather show happening today.
Yeah, 12:30 to 1. This Thursday, today, and tomorrow, it's hosted by Kevin. Every Thursday and Friday will be hosted by Kevin and I. We take a deep dive into the current weather, the forecast, and have some fun. And I'll be broadcasting from our Hamburg studios, and Kevin will be here, but it's live and it's fun on our WGRZ Plus.
At 12:30 today.
12:30.
All right, bye everybody. Have a great day.